Hi everyone, here is my Module 1 Assessment 2 presentation. My name is Ashley DeLuca. I am a 6th grade math teacher at Northern Middle School, which is located in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Some things about me: I like to travel and take adventures with my dog. How do students learn science? Students learn science using the three principles that were mentioned in the readings. Principle 1 is engaging prior understandings. This means that teachers are addressing preconceptions with students, identifying scientific phenomenon, everyday concepts of scientific methods, argumentation and reasoning, conceptual change, experimentation, models, interpretation of data, and inadequacies of argumentation. I think the quote on page 4 that I have here sums it up pretty well. The understandings children carry with them into the classroom, even before they start formal schooling, will shape significantly how they make sense of what they are taught. Meaning that in order for kids to understand what they're learning, they access and relate it to prior knowledge that they have, which sometimes is incorrect. Principle 2 is the essential role of factual knowledge and conceptual frameworks in understanding. So this means that students know what it means to do science. So they learn with understanding, meaning factual knowledge must be placed in a conceptual framework, and concepts are given meaning by multiple representations that are rich in factual details. They also partake in observation, reason, and experiment, and imagination to scientific advancement, which means going beyond their current understanding, and participate in a process of inquiry rather than inquiry as a process. Principle 3 is the importance of self-monitoring, which means metacognition, which means they have metacognition, which is used to refer to people's knowledge about themselves as information processors. This includes knowledge about what we need to do in order to learn and remember new information, and the ability to monitor our current understanding to make sure we understand. That means that students have the ability to take control of their own learning, define the learning goals, monitor their progress in achieving the goals, and also learn about themselves by engaging in new questioning approaches, and all of this is done by self-reflection and self-assessment, meaning they self-reflect their role in the inquiry, monitor and critique their claims, and also monitor and critique others' claims. Some barriers to science learning is: 1, not addressing the preconceptions. I think the quote on page 5 really sums that up. If we don't address their preconceptions, they're still going to use those misconceptions in the real world rather than what was taught to them, because they didn't make those connections. Seeing separate pieces of information instead of organized sets of ideas, meaning they see things as wrong or right rather and individual kind of ideas instead of seeing the connection between all of them. Lockstep approaches, which is step-by-step inquiry process rather than a process of inquiry. And they struggle to make no distinction between observation and theory. The quote on page 12, overall, the knowledge of the discipline one is studying affects the pupil's abilities to monitor their own understanding and evaluate others' claims effectively. Meaning, if they can't make the distinction between observation and theory, their claims are mere opinions, or could be mere opinions. And another barrier to learning is curriculum. My classroom and the tenets of science learning. My classroom has a culture that encourages students to ask questions. Students work in groups, and students have or are encouraged to have a growth mindset. I think the quote on page 20 really sums that up, why it's so important to have a growth mindset. Some things my classroom needs more of is more integration across the disciplines, more process of inquiry and more student reflection and feedback, and I need to ask more probing questions for that discovery learning. My STEM perspective, to me, STEM means coordination and integrations across disciplines. So you can see my diagrams there. I believe that it is kind of a combination between the two. And that is the end of my presentation. And my favorite candy bar is a Snickers. Thank you for listening.